Hello guys, welcome to the Semmelweis podcast, and today we're going to talk about the admission process and the application process for the Semmelweis University. If you don't have the scholarship and you want to come to Semmelweis University as a self-paying, fee-paying student, for this video we have a very special guest. She's a tennis player, she's a YouTuber, she's also a blogger, and she's right now studying in the general medicine in second year. So let's welcome Evelina. Welcome to the Semmelweis podcast.
Everyone, I hope you guys are enjoying our podcast here. As you said, my name is Evelina. I'm a second year general medicine student, and I'm very happy to be here with you guys doing the Faces of Semmelweis podcast. And you know, it's quite nice here. Yeah.
And, since you're a YouTuber, just tell us about this whole setup.
I love this. Feels like being home, but a little more complex and complicated. Because at home, I just have a mic and a camera and a ring light, and that's all there is. But here, we're surrounded by cameras, surrounded by light, and very, very nice little wall here, which is representing Semmelweis and some wine, as you can see. That's for relaxing, which we all, as medical students, need.
Yeah, and also we have a... How do you call it?
Ultrasound
we have an ultrasound machine as well. So I mean, like if this business would not run, we will have the backup plan for you know for the
if somebody
business.
needs help, like we have the ultrasound machine right here. Just like come in for a checkup.
Yeah. So tell us about your journey and the background, how you end up in coming to Semmelweis.
Of course. So for me, I would always wanted to be a doctor. I think that was my thing from when I was a child, and I completely was always enjoying reading anatomy books. And my auntie, she's a doctor, and so we always had this like bunch of anatomy books at home, and I would just scroll through them, obviously not understanding anything that was there, just seeing weird organs, and I was like, oh my god, I was so curious. It is within my body. How is that possible? And like, you know, forward a few years, and I finished my middle school. And in my country, in Uzbekistan, where I'm from, we have high schools, and they're like specialized professional high schools where you can get a specialty.
Yeah, it's the same in my country as well. Yeah.
Oh, you see, that's cool. I didn't even know that was the same thing in like other countries other than post-Soviet, because it's very common.
I think because we guys are in Asia, like most of the Asian countries, they have the same trend.
Oh, that's true. I never thought of that.
Yeah. So they had the same trend. They had the high school for the specialized, things.
Yeah. So I went to like the medical college, and I got my degree, and I'm like this physician's assistant slash, I never remember what they're called, English, when you're working on an ambulance and you're like a physician's assistant on an ambulance, if you know what I mean. So that's basically what my specialty is. So I'm a physician's assistant, and I've studied there for 3 years, and that's when I was studying everything medicine related. There was dermatology, there was like even trauma help, first aid, everything there is to have, injections. So like we even had practice in hospitals, giving injections, doing IVs, checking blood pressure, everything pretty much that you can possibly imagine a nurse or a physician's assistant do. So I graduated from there, and I was like, okay, I want to be a doctor. Like, I don't want to be a nurse. I don't want to be a physician's assistant. I want to have higher education. I want to be a doctor. So then I decided to apply to US. That's where my auntie was living at the time already. And I decided to apply to a college because that was something that was financially affordable. And I was thinking that like in a few years, I could just apply to university and get my degree. My life didn't go very straightforward at all. And after spending 3 years of studying in US and almost getting my bachelor degree in nursing, by the way, which was kind of a prerequisite to go to med school in US.
Yeah, but like it takes more time.
It is like 8 years at least.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's even longer than here. So I wanted to graduate with bachelor's, do nursing just because it's related to medicine. So I would do actually something I enjoy, and then apply to med school. But things didn't go as planned, and my visa was rejected. And at the time I already was home. I just went home for like a visit, like to visit my family after 3 years of being there. And when I was about to renew my visa, they were like, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I managed to graduate, not with bachelor's. I graduated with associate degree in science, and that was okay. So since then, I was actively searching for a way to get my bachelor degree. And then I found out about Semmelweis, and I was like, oh my god, it is a very famous school. It is in Europe, which is also cool because I haven't been in Europe before. And I was thinking, and it's a 6-year program that gives you master's degree. And I was like, I'm sold. Like, I don't need my bachelor's anymore. Like, I just can get master's. It's that simple.
It basically happens for a reason. I mean, like, and how do you feeling here in Semmelweis University? Was it the best decision or the best circumstances that you developed at that time?
I think it's a hard question because, you know, for so many years, I really wanted to go to med school in US, and that's what I was working for so many years as well. But I don't think it was a bad decision at all because so many aspects, when you weigh them, I feel like Semmelweis is just so much better in different aspects. Yes, it's maybe harder than the US medical school. Yes, maybe the language barrier with like learning Hungarian is harder. But at the same time, the tuition fee is much lower. You don't have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars as you would in US. So here you get quality education, cheaper price. You're in Europe. It's so easy to travel around. So like I can list the benefits, you know.
So yeah, that's what I was always thinking, like why students come to, you know, here, like the international students, and you know, they pay the fee and everything. And now I get it, like it's more cheaper than their, you know, own country. If they would be doing the degree in their countries, and it would be more, you know, expensive. And here they can actually save the money and go wherever they want. And in Europe, you actually don't need the visa for traveling to, I mean, like 34 countries, or
I think the Schengen area, the entirety of the Schengen area.
So yeah, it's a pretty good thing.
Totally worth it.
Okay, so moving on, the basic topic, like what's the procedure for you know, applying to the Semmelweis University? Let's suppose I'm a student anywhere in the world. So what are the first steps and what are the steps that you guys have to follow? Because like I'm a scholarship student, to be honest, so I don't know about anything. If you have to, you know, pay your tuition fee and you're not on the scholarship, so what's the procedure for that? Just tell us about everything.
Of course, since you mentioned the stipendium, I think the stipendium is a great way for students to also apply, and we'll have a separate video about that, guys. So if you're interested in stipendium, just tune in. But for those students who are not able to apply through the stipendium, I think it's important to share the application process overall for the students who are just applying from different countries. And in that aspect, first thing first for me was just searching up the university. So of course, that was a separate process of picking the university, picking the program that I was interested in, and then going through the entirety of the application process. So as you enter the Semmelweis website, right away they tell you that the application process requires certain documents, like you have to have graduated from high school, you have to have a certain level of English. They do not require like TOEFL or IELTS or any test, as long as you have like English proficiency where you can understand the speech of professors, obviously. And then you have a test. So for us, the first step is uploading all of your documents to a website called Semaphore. I think it's still the same. For me, it was like 2 years ago. So you apply all of your documents, then you have to pay, I think, the application fee. I think it was $220 or something like that. I might be mistaken. I don't remember by now. And then you get to pick a date. There's like dates from when I was applying, which was 2021. The first date of exams was 3rd of March, and I think it ends somewhere in July. So I picked one of the closest ones. So I picked like, I think 3rd or 4th week or something. I don't remember. It was 31st of March. I just remember the date. So it was 31st of March, and that was going to be my test. And the day after, April 1st, I was supposed to have my interview. So the test itself consists of multiple questions. So there's 20 questions for biology, 20 questions for chemistry, 20 questions for English, and 20 questions for English terminology. And I think you have about 1 minute for each, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a little more.
Yeah. Okay. And was it on like Zoom or something?
I think the week before the exam, they sent us this whole like email telling us what are the steps. You have to download the Safe Exam browser. I believe it was from the Semmelweis website. That browser basically does not let you open any tabs. You can only stay on that screen and you cannot close it. The second step was to open the Zoom and be online. Your camera, your microphone, everything has to be on. No outside noises are allowed. You have to be in the room alone. And there is a person who is overwatching you. So I think there was about 20 to 25 people in each section. And there was a person overlooking everyone. So they were checking everybody's cameras, checking how you were doing on the exam. And if somebody had technical issues, they were helping them with that. So yes, we had to be on Zoom. And then we had to log in on the website to this, like, I forgot the, like there's a separate place where you log in as a student. You go to the test section and you fill it out as you're on Zoom. And I think the time limit was 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And once we were done with the test, you could just leave at any time. So if you were done with the test, you just leave. You don't get the results of the test ever. So like you never know how well you did. I'm still curious because I really wanted to see, because like I had this horrible technical issue in chemistry. My entire last page, I could not load it. It just would not load. And then the time ran out and I was like, well, did not finish chemistry. Will not make it. So the next day I had the interview already. And
okay, so you also have the interview after the test as well.
Yes.
So you have like first the test and then you have the interview.
The day after.
Oh, I see. For us, it was just a test, and we we feel so lucky about it. Yeah.
So you get a day to rest, so you can sleep, relax, enjoy your life until the next day. That's when you again have to log into Zoom, and then you have an examiner there. I unfortunately had to wait for my examiner because for whatever reason he was so slow with the previous person that he was testing. And the funny thing was, I was waiting in the window of like, you know, this like wait for the host to let you in, and I could see the comments, and I guess the professor was asking the student to write formulas out, and I was like, I know that one, and I was like stressing out, like just there watching what he was asking. It was so funny. So then I logged in, and the professor was actually the basics of math and physics professor, and I forgot his name, but he was so intimidating, like he was so scary. So for us, the interview is not like the US medical school interview where you have to talk about why do you want to be a doctor. He asked me one question: why did I apply to be a doctor? I told him that that was like my passion and everything. Then the internet connection broke and he completely forgot about the question he asked me. And when the connection was back, he was immediately like, okay, chemistry question. So we get 2 questions for chemistry and 2 questions for biology, and you have to basically, you have some time to write it down on the paper, and then you can show it to the professor, which is super awkward because I like have to try to find the web camera. And they have to just like they can correct you, they can ask you additional questions regarding it, but everything was pretty much from the topic list that we were given. And it was pretty chill, pretty fast as well. I think it was at most 45 minutes. And as we were done, they just told me that the results will be available at the end of the week, which it was Friday, I think, or Thursday already. I don't remember. But basically, that's the end of it. They don't tell you anything else. You finish the interview, you log out, and then you wait. Okay.
And after it, like you have to, I think, like wait 2 months or 1 month for your decision. Like how much time do you like wait?
That's the interesting part, because most of the students that I know, they told me that they had to wait a week or 2 or more. But for me, I got the result on the same day, which was so awkward because like I fell asleep on 1st of April. That was when my interview was. I fall asleep and then I wake up morning of the next day, just tapping my phone, and I see that I got an email the night before. So like at 10 p.m. my time back then. And I was like, oh my God, I have to check it. And I was stressing out because my entire family, I don't know, like, I think we're all like realists. And because I told them that I messed up my chemistry, they were all like, you probably didn't make it, but it's okay. You have a second retake. It's okay. So I opened the email and it just says like decision, admit. And I was like, so like I went into this whole, like I started weeping and crying, and I was like, how is this possible? It is actually like real. I'm now a medical student. So.
And why do you think like they responded so fast?
They evaluate both your application, the test result, and the interview. And I think maybe collectively they saw me as a very good potential student because I had medical background. Because like I was expecting to be like either on a wait list or something like that, because I know a lot of students were. And I know there was a lot of applicants at that time already, but I think they make a decision overall on like your application, your test result. And I guess I did well on my test as well, because I know that depending on how you do on the test and your application, they can then consider, and considering the amount of applicants as well, I think that's how they do it.
After this, obviously, like once you get the, the acceptance letter, everything, you have to apply for the visa, right? Applied in the Uzbek embassy in your country, right? I see. So what was that process? And I think like what I've heard, like for the visa, you actually need IELTS or, TOEFL or something for the visa, actually, not for the admission.
I had TOEFL done before because I was applying to Canadian University a year before that. So I didn't have to do any tests. So I already had one. I think the visa process is not as complicated as it has to be. They require so many documents from you. There's this whole like application that you have to fill out by hand for whatever reason. Yeah. And from the documents, just as we're going to go through the list, first was the language certificate. Second was like a copy of your passport. You have to have a photo of yourself, school certificate, diplomas, all translated and notarized. Then you have financial support. So if it's not you, like if it's your family paying, they have to have a letter certifying they're going to pay for you. Then you're going to have their bank account balance all stated. And then you have to have a letter from the school certifying that you have paid there's this fee you have to pay to get your space. Like, I don't know what it's called, like book your place basically in the university. You have to pay that. So you have to have a letter certifying you paid it and you are actually a student from now on. And I have a feeling that's it. And then you just fill out the application.
And how long does it take to get your visa?
For me, it was 10 days.
Okay.
And the funny thing was they only let you apply for it 3 months before your departure. Oh, by the way, you have to have a flight ticket booked.
Yeah.
No, I forgot. That was one of the documents.
And also about the accommodation as well. So you have to have
Oh my God, you're so right. Yes, you have to have a contract already signed.
But actually you can actually just, do the booking from booking.com, no?
I guess you could, but I already found an apartment here, so it was nice.
So like for us, like what we do mostly for the visa interview, we just book it and then we basically cancel it later.
Oh, well, it makes sense. I know that a lot of people do that for flights as well. Like,
it's the same.
Websites for that. But it was pretty simple. I just went inside. I left all of my documents and I was so scared because, like going to like US embassy is such a scary thing. And then there's Hungarian embassy. They were like, oh, so chill. They were so nice. He was like, oh yeah, you can just sit. You can just relax. It's okay. We're just going to just look at your documents. I paid the fee. And he was like, okay, we're going to call you when it's ready. And I'm sitting there like, what do you mean when it's ready? There's no interview process? Nothing. And I was expecting to be asked questions like in the US embassy, like, why are you going there? What is the purpose of stay? When are you coming back and everything? And I was so afraid of that because like, of course there's nothing to hide, but you're always so afraid that the visa will mess up your student progress altogether. So in 10 days, they just called me. They were like, your passport is ready. You can just come pick it up. And I was like, that was fast.
I mean, like the Hungarian, the embassies, everyone in the world, they're so like nice. And like, that's why I think like the visa ratio for Hungary is like better than every other country.
For sure. So less stressful.
Thank you so much for watching the video and do subscribe our channel. And also we have our independent channel on YouTube. We'll put the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe to that also. And see you in the next video. And thank you so much. Goodbye.